My name is Harrison, and OCD makes me ask scary what-if questions every day. My first memory with OCD was when I was about 7. I was on a plane back from Maui, and we had just spent 7 days at a hotel called the Grand Wailea. And I was a 7-year-old kid, and I peed in the pool, which a lot of kids do. It's gross. But I did it, and there was this Simpsons episode on the plane about a kid peeing in the pool and getting in trouble about it. And that's the first memory I have of OCD. It immediately, for 2 weeks after that, all I could think about was, oh no, I have to apologize to the hotel, to my parents, like, what do I do? I can't believe I peed in the pool. The thoughts were racing. And yeah, it thankfully wasn't until I was 16 till things resurfaced, but that's my earliest memory. When I was 16, I started to question my sexuality. It definitely wasn't a comfortable conversation to be attracted to men at the time. And my thoughts started to race. They started to go, did I really have that attraction towards that guy? Was that real? Was that this? Was that that? And I believe that snowballed into starting to obsess about everything, which manifested as, why did I have that grotesque thought about that person? What if I want to kill somebody? What if I thought of a weird sexual act with somebody I shouldn't be sleeping with? All of these strange, bizarre questions that I now understand most people have but don't give second thought to it. Those started to pop up. And the compulsions were asking my friends, is it weird that I had this thought? Is it bad that I had this thought? At first, most people were fine to comply, but eventually people started to get a little irritated. I mean, it's not appropriate to use people as your compulsions. I don't think it's a good thing to do. And it doesn't help you, because the more you use people to justify a thought or an action, the more they'll come. And the harder they'll be to ask. It just snowballs. Everything snowballs in OCD. So you gotta just not pick up the snow. You just gotta let it be. Let the snow hit the ground, let the thought hit the ground, and just don't pick it up. When my symptoms first escalated around 16, I didn't see a therapist at the time. I didn't really know what it was. I just thought I had anxiety. People in my family have generalized anxiety in general, but I had a few suicide attempts in kind of the 19 to 21-ish range of my life. Those were really just cry for helps because I couldn't manage the OCD anymore. And I didn't understand what was going on, so I needed to put myself in a situation where I had other people looking hard at me to figure out what was going on, and I couldn't figure out any other way but to hurt myself to a point that would get me institutionalized. There were some other things going on that triggered that, but I do ultimately believe OCD is what got me to that place. The first go-around, the first 2 years of being in a hospital and then taking medications, seeing a therapist, I was not diagnosed with OCD, which many people are not at first, and I wasn't taking the right amount of a medication for it to actually do anything, and I wasn't doing the right kind of treatment in terms of behavioral therapy to actually see good progress. But thankfully, when I was 21, I was in a hospital, and the therapist that was assigned to me had OCD. And I had brought in a list of like 20 bullet points of all of my symptoms because I was so pissed off that I was like, I'm gonna make a clear chart of all of my symptoms and they will figure it out. She saw the chart and immediately knew I had OCD. One of my big what ifs is, what if I'm in the wrong field in my career? So the OCD. I like to say the OCD as opposed to my OCD. Somebody brought that up in group therapy like 7 years ago. If you claim it as yours, it's almost like part of you, but it is something separate from you. It doesn't have to be yours. It can be the OCD. So the OCD in my brain goes, oh, if you don't lock in, make X amount of money right now, find the partner at this moment, everything, the rest of your life is going to be horrible. And granted, like, a lot of people have those thoughts, and I don't know if I would cater that all to OCD, because I think those are normal thoughts to have when you're 30 years old, or when you're 20, or when you're 70. So what if I'm contaminating this chair? Could be a question. I wore some shoes today that I threw up on 2 years ago, and I did clean them with a doctor's help through therapy. It was an exposure. I have not worn them in at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't even know. It was 2021 when I was in outpatient at UCLA. But I've been staring at these shoes, and they follow me wherever I move. I move around a lot, and every time I touch them, I have to wash my hands because there's throw up on them, and my fear goes, oh, I'm gonna contaminate this person, or I'm contaminating this chair. If I don't clean this chair right now, I'm gonna have to apologize to the person that touches it. I'm gonna have to confess to them, I contaminated you with my throw up, so you need to clean yourself. But I'm wearing them right now, and this chair might actually have a particle of my throw up on it, but I'm dealing with it. Honestly, right now, I'm okay with it. I think any opportunity you can get to do an exposure is a good time. There's never a wrong time to do an exposure, because life is really just one big exposure. Biggest thing I want people to know is, if you are questioning whether or not you have OCD right now, or if you know you have OCD right now, you can get better. You really, really can. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to do things that are going to make you uncomfortable. The only way you're going to get to a better place is if you get to an uncomfortable place first. But it's so worth it. It's so worth being uncomfortable, because when you're comfortable, it's like such a good payoff. It's like getting a tattoo or like getting ears pierced. You're gonna have pain, but like once it's done, wow. So I would just say go for the pain. Go for the ugly and the uncomfortable, and your life will open up so much more. I think it's definitely important to have hope in your OCD journey, because without it, it's honestly just it's not gonna get better. You have to believe you can get better to get better with OCD. I would say that hope in general is the base level necessity to take the right steps to get treatment, to get help. The nice thing is there's a big community in the OCD world. And if you don't have hope, they can provide the hope. We have figured out a lot. Medication and therapy does a lot. But most of the medications that people are taking for OCD were made for something else. New medications need to be made, need to be tested, because I do think that there is so much more to pinpoint and get right with OCD. We need all the research in the world. We need more people going in to study for it, study about it, help people with it, especially because a lot of people with OCD have a lot to offer the world. I do think OCD can be one of the most debilitating diseases, though. If it's really bad, more so than most people think. Because of the OCD, my brain loves to throw scary what-if questions at me every day. But what if you're not alone? And what if research brings hope